So guys, hello and welcome to today's extraordinary webinar with Empower Financing and Galvanize Test Prep. So before starting the webinar, I need to check just one thing. Am I audible to you? If yes, please drop an yes message in the chat box. So Sandeepan Malji says yes. Mohan says yes. Guys, I'm not able to receive your okay. Manohar Madan says yes. Yeah, I can see a lot of yeses. So moving later on, if you face any issues, please press the reconnect button, which is present at the top of your toolbar, so that you can reconnect with us easily. So yes, today's webinar, it's all about funding options after receiving college admits. And this webinar will be hosted by a Wharton alum. So Lutz Burham. Lutz is a former international student himself, going from Germany to USA to attend Arizona State University and subsequently the Wharton School. He is passionate about international education because he believes we need more global citizens who can bridge borders and cultural difference to make the world a better place. Lutz Burham is the head of marketing of Empower Financing, the only lender offering fixed-rate student loans to international students without requiring a cosigner, collateral, or a credit history. So before wasting any of your time, I will now hand over to Lutz.
Great, thank you very much, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining this webinar. I'm very excited to tell you all about Empower and how we can support your journey to fund your study abroad programs in the US and Canada. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat box and I will address them towards the end because maybe some of those questions will be answered as I go through the presentation. But if not, I promise you I will answer those at the end of my presentation. Should be fairly short, so there's plenty of time for Q&A at the end. So, as already mentioned, I am a former international student myself. I came from Germany to Arizona State University to study business, and I'm familiar with all the challenges that international students face, ranging from people not knowing how to pronounce your name to finding your way on campus in a strange land. But I really enjoyed my time and stayed in the US to attend Wharton as well, and then I had a global career with Citibank, Wells Fargo, and PayPal. In fact, I went back to Germany after my studies to work for Citibank, and then they brought me back to the US. That's one of many ways that you can hopefully find a way to stay in the US or Canada after you study abroad program by working for a company that can move you there, even if you don't get a visa right after your studies. So let me just talk to you what we're going to cover. I'm going to give you a quick introduction over Empower and our loan program, but we also have a couple other things that I want to share with you, which is our career support program and our scholarships, and then we'll leave time for Q&A. So our mission, because Empower is comprised mostly of international students or former international students, we all feel very passionate about helping high-promise students like yourself to help your academic and financial aspirations and create more people who can bridge borders and cultures and, as we mentioned in the introduction, make the world a better place. In fact, our company was founded by two former international students, both of them who struggled with financing. Manu, our CEO, went to the University of Virginia. He came from France. And our co-founder, Mike, came from Tehran in Persia and went to Purdue University. And after a career in business and consulting, they decided we want to help international students. And they founded this company 5 years ago. And since then, we've been growing quite a bit. We are truly a global company. We're based in Washington, D.C., but we also have offices in New York, in San Diego, in Uruguay, and a large part of a team is in Bengaluru, in India. We are a very diverse crowd. Many of us, like I said, were former international students. We are 13 nationalities. We speak 20 languages. So we're very proud of the fact that we know this space probably better than anyone. And that's why we've been pretty successful. We provide loans to students studying in all 50 United States, as well as in 4 of the Canadian provinces. We work with over 350 universities, and we've made lots and lots of loans, so we know this business quite well. And we support students from over 200 countries. And I'm proud to say that just earlier this year, we were rated the #1 student loan for international students by NerdWallet, which is a website that evaluates financial services for consumers. So who is Empower? Well, as you may already have found out, banks in their own countries, like in India, for them, funding study abroad programs is not easy, and as a result, they require usually a cosigner or family members to cosign, or they want collateral. They require a lot of paperwork. It takes a long time to get a loan because it's just not a big part of their business. If you try to apply for a loan with the U.S. banks, they will also ask for a U.S. cosigner, which many international students don't have, which is why we started our company to be the only lender who really supports international students without cosigners. And we do it extremely well because we have partnerships with universities that make sure that students at those universities, either attending or accepted, know about all their financial options. The way we do it is that we look at people's future potential. We don't look at your past, but we look at what degree you're studying, where you're going to school, and based on your future potential, we can then make an assessment of whether we can extend or how much of a loan we can extend to you. We also do everything online. Everything's a cloud. Everything's super secure. And we have partners all over the world that makes it seamless for students to reach us and make payments from anywhere in the world. So we're really, truly set up for students like yourselves. So let me tell you a bit more about the loan itself. As I said, we don't require cosigner, collateral, or credit history. We also offer our fixed rate loans because that avoids the risk of interest rate fluctuations that you might be subjected to otherwise. Makes it a lot easier to budget your payments through school and beyond. We also offer interest rate discounts because we want people to make regular payments and we reward them for that, but we also reward people for graduating and getting a job. So I'll cover those in just a little bit. The term is a basic 10-year term, which is a reasonable amount of time to pay back a loan. And we loan up to $50,000. So requires a little more explanation. We offer the maximum loan amount is $25,000 per semester or per year, and a student can have up to 2 loans of $25,000. So you could borrow $25,000 for one semester and then apply for another $25,000 for the second semester or for the first year and then the second year. But we don't lend $50,000 at once. At most, it comes in pieces of $25,000. We also don't have any restrictions on what you use the money for. The money can be used for tuition, housing, meals, any other school expense. And in order to avoid any sort of hassles for you, the money goes directly to the school, so you don't have to worry about a thing once the loan is approved. We also help you build credit because the small interest payments that you're making while you're in school are reported to the credit bureau, and that it helps you build a credit history in the US, which is quite important in the US because people use that credit history not just for deciding whether to give you a credit card or a car loan, for example, but landlords also require a credit score to see whether they are willing to rent you an apartment, for example. So credit score is quite important in the US, and we help you build that. And then our support letter is, of course, good for getting your visa in the US, and we help you with that. And if you want, you can pay off the loan anytime you want. We don't have a prepayment penalty, so if you want to save money by paying off early, we welcome that. We actually would love to see you do that. So that's the highlights about the loans. To give you a bit more details, the rate for graduate school and postgraduate school is $11.99, but with the total amount of discounts, which I'll cover on the next slide, which amounts to 1.5%, that rate is really 10.4, which is very reasonable and very competitive with rates from other lenders in India, who will charge similar rates but still ask for co-signers and collateral. For undergrads, it's a little higher than that. And then there's a origination fee of 5%, which gets added to the balance. So if you borrow $10,000, there's a $500 fee that gets added to the balance of the loan, and then you pay that off over the course of the 10-year period. So it really only adds a couple of dollars to your payments. As I said, the loan amounts is a $50,000 max and $2,000 minimum. So even if you just need a little bit of money to close a gap in funding, we can handle that gap for you. And then repayment. So repayment starts while you're still in school, but we only charge the interest rate. And I'll show you in a future slide why that really matters. Then the principal repayment starts 6 months after graduation and can take up to 10 years. So why are we asking to make interest-only payments while in school? Well, first of all, it avoids you paying interest on interest. And I'll have an example coming up that shows you how much money you save that way. As I said, it builds a credit history. It also gets you used to some financial discipline of making small payments and getting into the habit of things. And the sooner you make payments, the sooner you get to benefit from the interest discounts that we offer. So let me tell you what those discounts are. First of all, as soon as you sign up for Autopay from a bank account in the US, we'll give you 0.5% discount. So right away, literally from day one, you can reduce your interest rate by 50 basis points. Then 6 months later, if you make 6 months payments, we get another 0.5% interest rate discount. So right away, while you're in school, you've already reduced your interest rate by a full percent. And then after you graduate and send us a proof of employment, we reduce the rate by another 0.5%. So the total rewards add up to 1.5%. And here's an example of why that's really important. Imagine you take $1,000 from Empower or somebody from a competitor at the same rate, but a competitor who doesn't ask for interest-only payments early on. What that means is that with Empower, you'll pay about $200, which, you know, an hourly wage of an on-campus job is about $15 per hour. So, you know, a couple hours a week of an on-campus job is an easy way to make these payments. But what happens then is that once you graduate with Empower, you still owe only $21,000 because your principal has not increased. But for somebody else who adds those payments to the principal and then charges more interest on that, you end up with almost over $5,000 more in debt when you graduate, which is a lot of money, which also means that after graduation, for those 10 years, you make a lot more payments, and in total, you pay a lot more interest. You can see at the bottom, you pay $25,000 of interest or $21,000. So that's $4,000 more in interest payments that you make by delaying those interest-only payments. So we believe this is a better way of treating students and not burdening them with unnecessary debt, and that's why we do that. The other thing that makes us different is that we offer fixed rates, so you never have to worry about the interest rate fluctuations. So we take that risk for you rather than putting it on your shoulders. It also means that your interest rate never increases, and over the last few years around the world, interest rates have risen and will probably continue to do so. So not sure whether you want to take a gamble on that or not, but we believe that students shouldn't have to gamble. And so we decided, you know, let's not do that and charge you only a fixed rate, which also means that it makes budgeting a lot easier. Your monthly payment doesn't change. Whereas with other lenders, every month you might be facing a different charge. And especially if you have auto debit set up, or make regular payments through some other means, you constantly have to change that method. With us, you set it once, you forget it, and you're set. So that's how our loan works. And what do you need to get the loan? Well, there are just two criteria to get a loan. One is you have to attend one of the schools that we support, one of the 350 schools that we work with. They're all listed on our website. We've selected these schools based on how well they support international students, how likely you are to graduate there, how likely you are to go get a great job coming out of the schools. So if you are still in the process of deciding where you want to study, that list is a great place to start. It includes obviously all the big universities that are also at the top of the rankings, but also a lot of smaller schools that maybe are less well known, but are really high performing. So I would encourage you to take a look at that and use that as one part of your decision of where to study. And the other criteria is that you have to be within 2 years of graduation. So any master's program obviously qualifies, any MBA, LLM, and if you are going to the US for undergraduate studies, then we only lend to juniors and seniors, and that is because a lot of people sometimes change their majors 2 or 3 times between the time that they start and end school, which makes it very difficult for us to figure out what their future potential is. But once you've declared a major and you're in your last 2 years, we feel much more comfortable giving you a loan because we know which direction you're heading and what career you're going into. So the way it works is you come to our website and you check eligibility, which means basically telling us when you want to go to school and where. Once you're eligible, you complete an online application, which takes about 30 minutes. It asks you a bunch of stuff about yourself, about your education background, about your professional background. It asks for some financial data. And then within 2 days or so, you get a conditional offer. Either yes, you're approved, or no, you're not approved. If you are approved, at that point, we ask you to actually upload the documents that are required, that would validate or verify the information you provided. And we take a look at those documents, and once we review the documents and verify the information, then we give you a final approval. And that approval letter you can then send to your university to get you the I-20 form, which is a form that the school issues you once they know that you have the financial means to attend college. And then you can use that form to get your student visa. So the fact that we can show that you have will help. And then once you're enrolled, we send the money directly to the school based on when the school wants the money, usually right before enrollment, and that's it. And then you make small interest-only payments until you graduate, and then you hopefully contact us to get your interest rate discount. So it's a pretty straightforward process. And we've gotten great raves and reviews about it, not just from independent websites like NerdWallet, but also our own customers constantly are thankful that we were able to help them, because usually nobody else has been able to help these students. But there's more to us. We do believe that we want to make a positive contribution to society. This is a quote of one of the big company in the world. And we truly believe the same thing, that we're not just in this as a business, but we're in this to make a positive impact on the world. And one way of doing that, obviously, is removing financial barriers to international education. Another way of doing that is with our career support program, which we call Path to Success. And that has multiple elements to it. For example, we assess your readiness for your career post-graduation. We help you with free resume reviews. We'll even do a mock interview with you. We provide networking support and help you find people in the US to speak with and explore your careers. We even offer jobs and internship opportunities. This summer, for example, we're hiring 10 international students this summer to be interns with us. And then the other side is that we offer scholarships. We have a bunch of scholarships that we offered. The Global Citizen one is the main one. The next deadline is July 15th. So I would encourage you to come to our website and apply for those scholarships. We also have scholarships specific to Latino students. That's not that relevant for this presentation, but we also have special scholarships for women who want to study a science degree, as well as a nursing scholarship. And all these scholarships are year-round. The deadlines change, but you can come to our website and check those out. You can even sign up for a scholarship alert to let you know when the next scholarship has been announced and is open for application. We've had already quite a few winners last year. We just selected new ones. I don't have the photos yet, so these are still the 2018 winners, but the 2019 winners have also been already selected. They are from all over the world and all are, great students. And then just to close out, a couple other resources. Obviously, our website itself is a big resource to find out more. There's a lot of information in there about how to apply, how to finance your studies. We also have a free guide. There's a lot to read here, but if your parents want to know anything about what Empower is and what we do, you can download this guide and share that with them. It really goes into a lot of details that I just covered. And then there are a couple other resources. One, if you're studying in the US, edupass.org is a great website with a ton of information on how to get to school, how to get to the US, how to manage the immigration system, what it's like to live here, how you pay for college. And if you go to Canada, studyincanada.org is a similar website that provides the same information, but about Canada. So that concludes the formal part of the presentation. And we can go straight to Q&A. Let me take a look at some of the questions that or if you have questions now, please put them in the chat box, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. One question we get quite often is, do I need to have my IELTS or TOEFL scores before I can receive an approval? And no, you don't need those test scores. You can even apply without those scores, although eventually we will want to see them, but you can certainly start your application. Another question we often get is, how soon in advance can I apply before I start? So if you are starting, let's say, in the fall of 2020, or want to start in the fall of 2020, you can apply a full year ahead of time. So you can apply this fall, even if you're not sure yet exactly where you're going to school, but if you've been accepted somewhere or multiple schools, you can make the application even if you haven't decided yet where you want to go to school. I got a question here about what the scholarship requirements are. So the scholarship requirements are fairly simple. You have to be accepted or enrolled at one of the 350 schools that are on our school list. And you have to write a short essay, 1,000 words or less, about a question. That question changes with every scholarship, so I won't tell you all the questions now, but it's fairly easy. Just a short essay about why you want to study in the US or Canada, or what impact you plan on making with your degree. I got a question here about applying for fall 2020 and what time is the best time to apply for a loan. The best time to apply is as soon as you are getting your first acceptance letter. We do need to know where you're going to school in order to start the process of evaluating your future, and so your school selection really matters. If you've been applied at multiple schools, apply for each school, and we'll look at each one individually. One question here is, do you have an office in India? Yes, we do. We have an office in Bangalore. My colleague Arbaz, who's on the webinar, is at that office, and it's a pretty big office where we handle a whole bunch of customer service and marketing and operations functions. Somebody's asking a question via WhatsApp. I'm actually not logged onto WhatsApp, so if you have a question, you can certainly put it into the chat box and we'll address it there. If you want to do volunteer work in the US, there are lots of people, lots of opportunities for that in order to build your resume out. We offer volunteer work as well. We're looking for campus ambassadors who will do some work on campus for us, such as maybe hosting a meeting or posting flyers for us or distributing brochures, or referring our scholarship program to others. So if you are coming to the US and are interested in volunteer activities, contact us on our website and we'll be able to hook you up with that program. All right. Another question that here's another question I just got. Do we check undergraduate percentage when evaluating a profile for a loan? So we do look at your undergraduate performance, and we'll ask for your grades and a transcript, and we do look at that as part of the application process. But it's a small portion, and if you don't have those, that's fine as well, because as I said, we make most of our decision based on your forward-looking potential. We do the same, what I just described goes for US as well as Canadian universities. So the school list that I pointed out to you on our website does show you also which schools in Canada we support. They're mostly in the English-speaking portion of Canada, in Ontario and British Columbia, and near Toronto. Another question is about, can you apply for a loan and a scholarship? You can apply for both, but you don't have to apply for a loan in order to apply for the scholarship. Those two are completely separate and don't influence each other. So if you're applying for a scholarship, that doesn't enhance or take away from your chances of getting a loan, and vice versa either. If you apply for a loan, that does not improve your chances of getting a scholarship. There are two different departments that evaluate those two. All right. Any other questions? Another question was about whether the interest rate is fixed or varies based on the profile or university. So our interest rate is the same regardless of which school you go to, what major you choose, what field you're studying in. If you're a graduate student, you pay the 11.99% rate or 10.5 after discounts. And if you're an undergraduate, it's 13.99 or 12.5 with the discounts. And other question we often get is whether there's an application fee that needs to be paid in order to apply for the loan or to receive a pre-approval. And no, we do not charge an application fee. So the origination fee that I mentioned is only charged if you get approved for a loan and it gets added to the loan amount. But there's no application fee that you would have to pay, even if, like other banks, and then when they decline you, you've lost that money. We don't do that. Sometimes we get questions about what kind of documents are needed to verify, and the list of documents is usually changes based on your profile, but just about everybody has to provide some document to verify their identification. So it's usually an uploading or a picture of your passport. We also ask for your educational background, so it's usually a university transcript, as well as the admissions letter for the university that you're going to, and some of your test scores. And then from a work perspective, we usually ask for your resume. And then the financial information really depends on what your financial situation is. So if you have other loans, for example, then we would like to see proof of that. If you have family savings, then we will be asking for a bank statement that shows that. If you've received a scholarship, we'll want to see the scholarship award letter that shows that you actually did get the scholarship. So those documents depend on what you tell us in the online application. And we don't charge for paying early. So if you get a great job right after graduation, make lots of money and want to pay it off early, plenty of students do that, especially when they stay in the US with OPT and have a good income. We do encourage borrowers to make payments as early as they can to save themselves some money. All right. Not seeing any more questions. If you have more questions, you can go to our website. There's an FAQ section that has very comprehensive information about all aspects of the loan and the scholarship program. There's one more question here about credit score, especially the civil score for India, and how much do we consider that? So if you have a score, we will look at that, but it's again not the main determinant of whether we approve for a loan or how much money we would lend you. Now, if you've had a credit history from in your home country, whether it's in India or other countries, that is truly bad, meaning you've missed lots of payments or you're delinquent loans, then your chances of getting a loan from us are pretty low. But as long as it shows that you have nothing major on there, then your chances are pretty good. All right, got one more question here about tell me a bit more about myself. Well, as I said in my introduction, I'm from Germany originally. That explains my funny first name. I came to the US to study business at Arizona State University, and then worked for a short while in the US for a bank, and then went on to do my graduate program at Wharton. And after that, I went with Citibank to Germany, because I'm from Germany. They needed people who speak German and were educated in the US. And after a few years in Germany, Citibank moved me back to the US. And I've been in the US ever since then. And since then, I've become a permanent resident. And a couple of weeks ago, I actually became a US citizen. I hope that answers that question. A question about what happens and how the disbursement works. So let me just go to a slide on that. But what happens after the loan gets approved? Well, as I said, you get a support letter that tells you how much money you are eligible for. You will take that letter and give it to your school, usually the International Student Services Office. They will issue a form called I-20, which is a form that you need to get your student visa. You then upload that I-20 and anything else that we've asked for to our website. And then we send a message to your school saying, is this student truly enrolled at your university? And is this the loan amount that they need? And then they usually say yes. And we ask them when do they want the money, and they usually say a week before school starts. And so at that point, we send the money directly to the school. So you don't have to think about anything once the loan has been approved. We take care of everything for you. All right. Any other questions? I kind of flipped by here briefly, but these are the documents, information that you need. I already covered a lot of that. And Galvanize team, let me know whether you will make this presentation available to everyone so they don't have to write all this down. But we'd be happy to make this information available to everyone after the webinar. Arbaz, I might need your help on this last question here. I'm an undergraduate student, I'm studying EEE, and I've completed 58 credits. Is it possible for me to study in the USA? I'm actually not sure, because I'm not sure what 58 credit equates to in the US. I think that's probably a better question to ask your school and see whether that is enough to move on to a degree in the US. And that probably changes and just differs by university. So I'm probably not the best one to answer. Yeah, thanks, Arbaz. All right, somebody would like to know whether there are any Empower representatives in the university. We have one certainly representative who travels the country and visits universities all over the country. There's certainly an option to meet with that person when that person's on your campus. And over time, we're looking to create more and more campus representatives. If you're interested in that, you can email me directly at lutz@empowerfinancing.com. Or you can reach out to Arbaz, who's our head of business development in our Bangalore office. In fact, he'd be happy to answer any questions. If you have questions after this that you forgot to ask during the webinar, don't hesitate to reach out to him, and he'd be happy to answer any other questions that you might have. We'd be happy to also share this document because it also includes a couple FAQs that I sort of covered verbally here, such as this page here. But as I said, all this information is also on our website in the FAQ section. So everything I covered can be found there as well.